mission number one in forging self-confidence is have a positive attitude. And that one thing alone, I swear to you, Jordy, that one concept alone has been the most transformational thing for me in my entire existence, right? And this is the one thing that is undeniable. And that's where, for me, the Froglogic was born. You know, people, every now and then they hear me say that term. They're like, well, what does that mean? And initially, the whole thing, when I started Froglogic in 2005 into 2006, it was basically to expose people to these core principles that I think are underneath the main psychological formats that they implement the development of a frogman, of a Green Beret, of whatever. Like, there are some fundamental core concepts, these principles of the whatever particular mindset you need to have to be a member of a group like this. And really, that's where the Froglogic concepts emerged. And the first one that I really focused on was the idea of self-confidence. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you know, how does self-confidence play a major role? Like, I'm a pretty confident person. I can handle myself, but you really got to ask yourself, like, is your self-confidence that intact? Now, one of the things that we see, and I would see with students, you can bang on a student, but if you bang on a student long enough, they're going to be defeated, right? And that's like the American public right now, I think. And you know, you bang on them long and hard enough, and they'll either walk away, check out. And, you know, I think you and I talked about that quite a bit. You know, people are just over it. They're just not, they're done paying attention. They can't keep up with the news cycle. They can't keep up with the intensity of being lied to and the corruption and all that. So a lot of people will just check out. But again, as you and I both know, if you check out, the problem only gets worse, right? And so
this is the thinking under fire thing you just said. I mean, all these concepts, I'm just thinking about it right now. Be self-confident. Okay, it sounds easy. Like, great, I'm confident. But it actually doesn't matter unless there's some force fighting against it. Like, your self-confidence only really matters when you have every reason to not be self-confident right now, when you have getting beaten down by life, when you're incessantly, right? That's really when it really matters.
Well, think about it, right? You wake up every day and put your feet on the ground, right? You check out your opposable thumbs, you take a deep breath of air, and you're like, fuck, all right, I'm good. This is good. And then you move into the day, and your first phone call you get is from your boss going, why are you late? When you get in, I'm going to hammer the snot at. Or when you get to work, you know, someone else gets a promotion and you don't. Or when you go to, eat whatever, you know, you can't afford eating at this, so you got to go eat. And it's just, you know, you get into that, whatever. I mean, or you get dumped, or you're in a bad relationship, or you have generational trauma. There's so many different aspects that your self-confidence can take a beating on, that it's critical, right? To how do you recuperate that? How do you recover? And so one of the things that I really try to understand is, like, what does the recovery look like for the individual? And do people have a system in place on how that works? And so the idea was, like, there would be one topical mission and then 4 subsets that help support the development of that overall mission, and to reinforce the idea behind what it means to be able to rehabilitate or maintain self-confidence. So, like, mission number 1 in forging self-confidence is have a positive attitude. Right. And that one thing alone, I swear to you, Jordy, that one concept alone has been the most transformational thing for me in my entire existence. Right. And this is the one thing that is undeniable. And a lot of people will debate me on this. Said, well, what if somebody has chronic depression, or somebody has, bipolar or multiple personality disorder, or is on the spectrum or whatever? Every human being I'm not going to say every, obviously there's a 3 to 5% that are psychopaths. There's 15% that are sociopathic in nature. Well, let's for discussion's
all the caveats,
purpose,
all the people on the margin,
overwhelming majority of people respond in a positive way when there's a sensation of a positive assessment of their world, right? Right? When they think they're in an environment that has relative positivity intact, and that's in the form of safety, that's the form of positive relationships, right? Feedback, that's in the form of some even limited sense of meaning or purpose. That's in the form of you feeling like you have some control of where the direction your life is headed, right? Something to aim at, as Jordan Peterson would say. And so that idea of a positive attitude, like you can do that every day. You don't have to pay to have a positive attitude. You don't have to pay. You don't have to download your positive attitude. You have a choice to be positive or negative or neutral. I mean, that's your choice every day, and it's on you. And there's, categorical proof that people in the very worst situations that can be manifested within the human condition, in terms of being locked in a concentration camp or a gulag, growing up in perpetual violence or trauma, there's a place that anybody can conjure, that there is a semblance of positivity. Now, I also recognize that through a lot of very intense psychological abuse, you can break human beings. Obviously, the MK Ultra program is one of the most known examples of that. You break somebody into disassociation, and you can manipulate them in any way you want. But the overwhelming majority of people existing normally is like, man, you can be positive every day. So that's mission number one. I
want to comment on that real quick, which is I just want to emphasize, when some people here have a positive attitude, at first glance, it can look way less serious or heroic or, dare I say, badass than it actually is, because I think the operative word there is have a positive attitude. Don't just hope you're happy, right? Because good luck with that strategy, right? But you wake up and the sun's shining, everything's fine. You just got paid today. Have a positive attitude. Easy. That doesn't really mean anything, right? But you got fired. You just yelled at your kid that morning when you shouldn't have. You just got a random tax bill for $25,000 that you didn't prepare for, right? Same day, your marriage is hanging on. Have a positive attitude now.